among various age groups, as indicated in the following tabulation. Relatively more beneficiaries aged 60 and over used direct deposit than those under age 60. Beneficiaries aged 65 to 71 and those aged 72 and over used direct deposit most often, 28% and 25%, respectively. Only 12% of those under age 22 were direct depositors. OASDL beneficiaries using direct deposit. Age, race, and sex number percent. Age. 21 AQD under. 22 to 59, 60 Q. 65 to 71. 72 and over. Race. White, black, other. Sex, adult beneficiaries. Men, women. 538,325 11.9 580,674 16.7 947,989 23.62.78 0.570 27.53 1,099,867 24.9 7,582,828 24.8 302,358.6 62,247 11.8 2,985 I-37 24.9 4,377,047 24.8. The direct deposit option was chosen by a considerably higher proportion of white beneficiaries, 25%, than of black beneficiaries, 9%, and of those of other minority races, 12%. About equal proportions of men and women beneficiaries used direct deposit. Amount of monthly benefits deposited. In December 1978, Social Security cash benefits payable to beneficiaries using direct deposit amounted to $2 billion or 26% of all benefits payable, as Table 1 shows. This proportion was somewhat higher than that for the number of beneficiaries using direct deposit, 23%. Monthly benefit amounts thus averaged higher for direct depositors. Among retired workers, the average monthly benefit amount was $282.26 for users of the direct deposit procedure, compared with $256.30 for non-users. For disabled workers, the corresponding average amounts were $308.49 and $282.94, respectively. Comparable differences were found among the other benefit categories. State variations. The proportion of beneficiaries using direct deposit ranged from 12% in Louisiana to 40% in Florida, Table 2. The percentages of direct depositors were, in general, highest in the Mountain, Pacific, and West North Central states and lowest in the southern states except Florida. In 8 states, Arizona, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Kansas, Montana, Utah, and Wyoming, from 33% to 39% used direct deposit. In 8 other states, 14 to 17% of the beneficiaries chose the direct deposit option. North Carolina, South Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, Alabama, Georgia, and Virginia are. In almost all the states, the percentages of black beneficiaries and of those of other minority races who used direct deposit were considerably below that for white beneficiaries. In 5 C states, less than 5% of the black beneficiaries chose the option. Louisiana, South Carolina, Alabama, Arkansas, and Mississippi. The percentages of white direct depositor beneficiaries in these states ranged from 15% in Louisiana to 24% in Mississippi. In 5 additional states, Alaska, Oklahoma, New Mexico, North Dakota, and Arizona, 7% or less of the beneficiaries of minority races other than black chose direct deposit. The proportion of white beneficiaries in these states who used the direct deposit procedure ranged from 23% in North Dakota to 41% in Arizona. In all states, average benefits were higher for retired workers who chose direct deposit than for those who did not choose the option. Table 3. The disparity between the benefit amounts was largest in the southern states. In 13 of the 16 southern states, The average benefit for retired workers who did not use direct deposit was less than 90% of the average amount for those who did choose the option. The disparity was this great in only one of the other 34 states, New Mexico. 2. For information about the use of direct deposit in specific metropolitan areas, see Barbara A. Lingo, Social Security Beneficiaries in Metropolitan Areas, 1978, Office of Research and Statistics, Social Security Administration, 1980. Child Support Enforcement Program. The Child Support Enforcement (CSE) program was established in 1975 by the Secretary as directed in Title IVD of the Social Security Act. The program collects money on behalf of families to compensate the federal, state, and local governments for payments made under the Aid to Families with Dependent Children (AFDC) program by seeking remuneration from absent parents according to their ability to pay. Applicants to the AFDC program, directed by the Office of Family Assistance of the Social Security Administration, are required to assign support rights to the state, empowering it to seek to establish paternity, when necessary, and to act as a collection vehicle for funds obtained from absent parents. The applicant must also help as much as possible in identifying the absent parent except when there is good. Prepared by Kurt Barron. Based on unpublished data from the 1977 AFDC study and from the 1975 and 1973 studies made by the Office of Research and Statistics, Social Security Administration. Dennis Corriveau, Acting Chief of the Planning and Evaluation Branch, Office of Child Support Enforcement, provided invaluable assistance, and Petrovia Grandi also helped in the preparation of the note. 20 Social Security Bulletin, March 1980, Volume 43, Number 3. Cause, not to the CSE program also is empowered to aid in the collection of child support payments for persons not receiving AFDC benefits but who request the service. The Office of Research and Statistics conducts biennially a nationwide sample survey of the AFDC caseload. The most recent survey covered the study month of March 1977 and included questions relating to the CSE program. Before enactment of Title IVD, the survey questionnaires did not focus on child support. Portions of the 1973 and 1975 surveys are relevant to the program and provide useful comparison data, however. Approximately 7,835,800 children in 3,523,300 families were receiving AFDC payments in 1977, Table 1. The corresponding figures in 1975 were 8,120,700 recipient children and 3,419,700 families. In 1973, 6,396,400 children and 2,989 families were receiving AFDC payments. In 1977, the majority, 85%, of these children were eligible because their father was absent from the home. The mother's absence accounted for the child's eligibility in less than 2% of the eligible cases, Table 1. The major reasons for the father's absence were the non-married status of the child's parent, 34%, non-legal separation, 22%, or divorce, 21%. The first and third of these reasons have increased in importance since 1975. Divorce as a factor has risen steadily since 1973. All these reasons have contributed to the continually rising significance of the father's absence as a determinant of AFDC eligibility, up more than 4 percentage points since 1973. In particular, the large proportion of fathers absent because they are not married to the child's mother or are non-legally separated from her points to the wide range of circumstances that require establishing a child support obligation. 1. Good cause refers generally to the situation that exists when documented evidence shows that the pursuit of the absent parent might cause physical and/or psychological damage to either the parent in the home or the child. Table L. Number and percentage distribution of AFDC recipient children, by reason deprived of support or care from parent, 1973-77. Reason for EBGBLBTY 1977. Total number. 7.835.8038,120,732 6, 3%, 439. Total percent. Father. Deceased. Physically or mentally incapacitated. Unemployed. Absent. In armed forces. Parents divorced. Parents legally separated. Not legally separated. Not married to mother. Other. Mother absent from home. 100.0. 2.63.74.0. 7.73.7. 10.24.1. 0.221.43.222.333.83.81.6. 1 Natural, adoptive, or legal stepfather. 1 excludes those in the armed forces. 1975, 1973. 100.0. 0.3.219.417.73.64.025.021.5.4.02.21.61.2. L. Able to. Number and percentage distribution of AFDC recipient children, by location of father, 1973-77. Location of father 1977-1975. Total number. Total percent. Deceased. In the home. In institution. Correctional. Other. Same county as family. Different county, but same. State as family. Different state than family. In foreign country. Whereabouts unknown. 2.11.92. I 3.2.521.920.619.5. 6.96.35.910.29.591.21.241.841.843.842.6. I. 1973. 6. 3%. 439. 100.0. 4.015.2. The whereabouts of 2/5 of all fathers was unknown in 1977A situation that obviously hindered attempts to establish the obligation of these individuals for providing child support. Table 2. Another 2/5 of the fathers were also absent from the home but with their address known. Slightly more than half of these fathers were living in the same county as their families. These proportions are higher than those for 1975 and about the same as those in 1973. If the remaining 1/5 of the fathers those not expected to contribute child support because of institutionalization or death and those living in the home are excluded, then a picture of the CSE population is formed. The general location of half of the absent fathers was known to CSE agencies in the various states. About 1/4 were within the same county and more than 1/3 were within the same state. Paternity child support proceedings for the local fathers, then, becomes a matter of pinpointing their exact location and employing the existing intrastate, intra-county procedures. For absent fathers outside the original state of residence or in a different country, the importance of increasing interstate and international communication and cooperation becomes clearly evident. Of the fathers who were absent in 1977 and not in the armed forces, 33% were located. Table 3. 30% of the absent fathers were not located or were still being searched for. For 37%, no attempt was made to locate the father. Table 3. Number and percentage distribution of AFDC recipient children with fathers absent from the home, by attempt to locate father, 1977. I child recipients. Attempt to locate father. Total. Number percent. 6.625.067 Located. 2J81.18332.9 Not Loxted. 2,005,365 30.3 No attempt to locate. 2,438, SI 936.8. Social Security Bulletin. March 198 Volume 43, Number 321. Table 4. Number and percentage distribution of AFDC recipient children with fathers absent from the home, by months since father left home, 1977. Child recipients. Months since father left home number percent. Total 3.445.695 EWO. L6. 25 1877 7.37 to 12. 409,366 11.913 to 18. 144.2514.219 to 24. 344,156 10.025 to 36. 449,257 13.037 to 48. 360,396 10.549 and L. 314,064 9. I 61 to 120. 882,119 25.6120 or more. 290,209 8.4. 1 excludes those who never lived in the home and number of months unknown. For fathers whose departure date from home was known, excluding those who have never been in the home, the data show that about 19% of the fathers of recipient children left home within the year before the survey, Table 4. A third of these fathers had left within the past 2 years, and more than half left within the past 4 years. Throughout the United States, the average time away from home for these fathers was 3 years. Paternity had been established for 2,244,500 or 27% of the children, Table 5. Paternity was not in question or no proceedings had been started for 46% of the children. For about 12% of the children, paternity proceedings had begun but paternity was not established. Court orders and obligations for child support, since the opening of the AFDC cases, had been established for 26% of all children by 1977, compared with 25% and 21% in 1973 and 1975, respectively, Table 6. Much of this increase, however, seems to reflect the replacement of voluntary agreements by court orders. In 1973, voluntary agreements alone accounted for 6% of all support going to recipients. In 1975, this proportion had changed to 7% of the total. By 1977, all support obligations other than court orders, including voluntary agreements, had declined to 3%. In both 1973 and 1977, the monthly amounts most often ordered by the court were within the range of $149. And Table 5. Number and percentage distribution of AFDC recipient children, by paternity status, 1977. Child recipients. Paternity status number percent. Total, 7,835,803 100.0. Paternity known or no proceedings. Started to establish paternity. Paternity proceedings started and paternity established. Paternity proceedings started but paternity not established. Unknown. 3,639,534 46.4. 2,244, 45 I 28.6. 919,379 11.71.03 2.439 13.2. Table L. Number and percentage distribution of AFDC families, by child support obligation, 1973-77. Child support obligation 1977, 1975, 1973. Total number 3,523.2943 419,671 2.989, 89 I. Total percent 100.0 100.0 100.0. No court order or agreement 71.968.773.6 court order. 25.924.921.2 other. Underscore. 2.86.85.6 unknown. 1.1.70. 1 includes voluntary agreements. Amount in this range was prescribed in both years for about 23% of all cases with awards, Table 7. An amount from $50 to $74 was prescribed in about 19% of the cases in each of those years. These two ranges of awards were also the highest and second highest in 1975. The average obligation in 1973 was $114.67. By 1977, the average had risen to $128.50. A comparison of actual payments ordered and payments made is presented in Table 8 for 1977. Child support from $100 to $149 had the greatest likelihood of being met or exceeded. No support was paid for about half the court orders or other support obligations. In 1977, actions taken to enforce a support obligation were successful in about 5% of all cases. They were not successful or were still in progress in 20% of the cases. Expectation of the future demand for CSE program services in association with AFDC depend directly on future projections of the AFDC family caseload. If the near future can be expected to resemble the recent past, then the CSE program caseload will range from 80% to 85% of the AFDC caseload, as shown in Table I. The Urban Institute, using its dynamic simulation of income model, which incorporates a microanalytic approach to forecasting, has projected the size of the AFDC caseload on the basis of a combination of behavioral assumptions about individuals and historical data. Removal of an admitted 2% bias because their model is an annual one and cannot capture part-year participants, provides these benchmark calendar year projections. For 1977, 3,292, ooh. For 1980, 3,523, ooh. And for 1984, 3,914, ooh. The actual caseload for calendar year 1977 was 3,588,000, a difference of about 9% from the projection. The Urban Institute prefaces its forecast by saying that, because of the offsetting influences of births, marriages, and divorces, the first 5 projected years show no clear trend, but that beginning in 1980, the caseload begins to rise. They attribute to the birth, marriage, and divorce rates were assumed to remain constant after 1977, with unemployment and inflation reduced to 5% and 4%. Respectively, the labor force participation of women rising from 46.9 million to 61.2 million by 1984, and all economic parameters rising with the rate of inflation. See Richard F. Wertheimer 11 and Sheila R. Zedlowski, The Impact of Demographic Change on the Distribution of Earned Income and the AFDC Program, The Urban Institute, Washington, D.C. December 1976. 22 Social Security Bulletin, March 1980, Volume 43, Number 3. Table 7. Number and percent of AFDC families with child support ordered by the court, by monthly amount of child support, 1973-77. Amount of child support 1977, 1975, 1973. Total number I. 847,145, 813,973, 626,689. IO Lil PCRCCNR Lu O 1000 $1 to 24. 4.54.75.025 to 49. 12.914.615.6 SO 74. 18.416.5 18.975 to 99. 14.713.3 14.3 Lu -149. 23.023.8 23.2 15 and 199. 12.913.1 12.2 200 to 249. 6.97.06.6 250 to 299. 2.92.4 2.0 300 ORNME. 3.84.62.1. 1 excludes those with amount unknown. This growth to the increasing number of divorces expected as a result of a previously rising number of marriages, as well as to a steady increase in births. Their estimate for 1980 is within 1.2% of the 1980 estimate of 3,565,000 families made by the Social Security Administration. For 1984, the Urban Institute projected a caseload of 3,914,000 families adjusted to the Social Security Administration estimate for 1980, 3% above the expected trend estimate of 3,465,000 and 11% different from the unadjusted figure of 3,837. The longer-term general trend implicit in these numbers seems to show that the CSE program caseload will remain relatively unchanged for the next 5 years or may rise slightly by 200,000-400,000 families, perhaps with the highest projection used. Factors affecting total caseload. About 5,709,000 families were in the general population in 1977 with a woman as household head, no spouse present, and one or more related children, 3 under age 18. The median. J. Related children refer to the parent's own children and all other children in the household related by blood, marriage, or adoption. Annual income of this group was $6,500.40 in that year. 644,000 men were in the same position but earning a median annual income of $13,368. About 2,384, 42% of the women were below the poverty level with a median annual income of $3,369 and a mean annual income of $3,404. Approximately 95,000 men, 15%, were similarly situated in relation to the poverty level. 69% of the women household heads under age 25 and with related children were below the poverty level. The AFDC study showed that, in 1977, about 1,002,200, 28.4%, of the actual AFDC caseload were women of this description. If past trends continue into the near future, the CSE program will spend an increasing amount of its time in establishing paternity. The number of one-parent families maintained by a woman increased tremendously by 55% during the 1960s and 78% from 1970 to 1978. Why the proportion of families with women at the head who have never been married is 2%. The important role of child support payments obtained through all sources, that is, not only that obtained as a result of the CSE program, can be seen from the fact that the poverty rate for women not receiving child support declines from 19% to 12% when child support payments are added in 6. If the current movement toward more frequent custody of their children by their fathers continues, and fathers such as those described above maintain their income level, it seems likely that fewer families will need to receive AFDC payments. Another AFDC reduction factor that appears to be growing is the widespread use of contraception to men. Continued on page 27. 4 income figures in this section include earned and unearned income, Social Security benefits, SSI payments, and public assistance payments, including AFDC. Bureau of Census. Money income in 1977 of families and persons in the U.S., current population reports, special studies. Series P60, number 119, S. Bureau of the Census, Divorce, Child Custody, and Child Support, Special Studies, Series P23, number 84, page 1. 6. Bureau of the Census, Characteristics of the Population Below the Poverty Level, 1977, Current Population Reports, number 119. 1979, Table 8. Number and percentage distribution of AFDC families with support obligations, by monthly amount of support from parents and payment status, 1977. Amount of support, $I-24, 2,549, 50 to 74, 75s 99, LOO 149, 15s 199, 200 to 249, 250 or more. Unknown. Total number of families receiving support. 45,222, 117,908, 166,753, 134,616, 204,211, 114,244, 62,192, 59,808, 172,600.